Look. We're drinking water today. So it's one of those days. Here we are with another video that I have no idea how to start or how to do, okay? It's gonna be a book video because I've done way too many unboxing and card opening videos. Haven't even gotten a chance to read too much manga recently because I've been out and stuff. But we are gonna talk about this book. If He Had Been With Me. There it is. If He Had Been With Me. By Laura Nowlin. Okay, I just finished this book. I finished this book in like 3 sittings, so it was pretty easy. I annotated it a lot because I kind of had a lot of thoughts as I was reading it, and it was a book that kind of like really lent itself to be annotated. So as I talk about this book, keep in mind that what I'll say will be spoiler free, or I will try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. But there's gonna be parts. Okay, so just keep in mind, as I talk about this book, I'm gonna try to keep it as spoiler free as possible, okay? But you have to keep in mind too that the things I'm going to be saying are probably not going to be making too much sense because I'm going to be kind of like beating it around the bush. So keep that in mind, okay? It might sound like a horrible book as I'm explaining it, but it is not. And this is why. So before I start talking about the book, let me talk to you about the back of the book, the synopsis. So it says, Autumn and Finn used to be inseparable, but then something changed, or they changed. Now they do their best to ignore each other. Autumn has her boyfriend, Jamie, and her close-knit group of friends. Finn has become that boy at school, the one everyone wants to be around. That still doesn't stop the way Autumn feels every time she and Finn cross paths, and the growing nagging thought that maybe things could have been different, maybe they should have been together. And as time passes, Autumn realizes she might not get another chance to make things right before it's too late. There's 2 praises in the back of the book as well. It reads, sweet, authentic love story and hypnotic writing. Let me talk to you about the characters first. So, arguably the main 2 characters are, of course, Autumn, since it's from her point of view, and then you have Finn. It says they're best friends, and they are throughout the story in a way, but they're also neighbors, and that's something that the back of the book didn't say. And you'll notice that there's gonna be a lot of tension just because they're neighbors, and it just kind of like lends itself to the narrative of the story. There's also Jamie, who's Autumn's boyfriend throughout the book. There's also Sasha. There's also Sylvie. And there's also the mothers. They call them the mothers. So it's Autumn's mom and Finn's mom as well. And they're best friends. So that's that. The book starts, chapter 1 literally starts as a cold start. It starts with the ending. It starts with an event, and you get an idea of what this event is gonna be very early on, like within the first page or 2, okay? Then it jumps to chapter 2, and chapter 2 kind of like picks up a little bit before these characters go in and start high school. So the actual story itself, over the course of 89 chapters, and keep in mind, the chapters are about a page or 2 at most, 89 chapters, tells the story of Autumn going through high school, all 4 years, what she experiences, all her emotions, her classes, navigating through different friend groups, especially since her and Finn kind of like have a little falling out because they end up having different friend groups at the beginning of high school, which is kind of like something that happens a lot, right? Honestly, you know, people discover different hobbies, different join different activities. Meanwhile, your best friend didn't make the cut, etc., etc. So you naturally grow and kind of like make different friends along the way. That's not what happens to them, and you don't really get the idea implanted into your head until maybe like 3/4 of the way in, that you start kind of like piecing it together. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I read like half of this book in one sitting, right? And I hated it. I was like, what's the purpose of this? Like, it's just going through her day. It's going through her classes. It's going through her year in high school. It's like, dude, I'm an adult, I think. I don't know, I'm wearing a SpongeBob shirt, but like, I'm still an adult. I went through high school. I know what that is. Why am I reading this? And it wasn't until, oh my gosh, it was not until like the last quarter of the book that you kind of like start seeing the pieces fit and it all starting to move. Because as you read, it does this crazy thing. And I just couldn't put it into words. But that first chapter tells you that there is going to be something that happens. And because the first half of the book is so mundane, it's just about random things that people normally do in high school or whatever, right? Dances and whatnot. You forget that there's a timeline, that there is gonna be this big event that's gonna happen, and you kind of like lose track that was introduced in chapter 1, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you're like, oh. I literally looked at the title. I was like, oh, this is not gonna be a happy ending type of book, is it? And with that, okay, that was my best attempt at trying not to spoil the book at all, okay? But it has this charm when you get past the all mundane and like boring aspects of like being in high school and whatnot, okay? And you get to the end and you realize that everything that you thought was boring at the beginning makes it all that more enjoyable and satisfying, and you kind of like feel more for the characters when that event happens at the end. Because in chapter 1 it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna happen, why do I care, okay? And then you get through these characters, you spend like 3 years with them, and then you're like, oh no, I don't want that to happen. And you start thinking to yourself, wait, when's it gonna happen? Because they say they're gonna do this, but then it doesn't happen. When is it gonna happen? And it happens, dude, when I tell you, it happens literally 2 chapters before the end. So that means 5 pages before the end of the book, okay? When it happens then, what did I think? I got really sad. Okay? Trigger warning. It's gonna be a sad book, okay? And there's also kind of like another type of trigger warning too, so keep in mind, I would say it's pretty mature. Okay, sorry. I recommend this book. I do recommend this book. Don't get me wrong. I recommend this book. It's a good book, and you need to have the patience for it. But I think it lends itself to being accessible just because the chapters are so short. So it's not like a big commitment into it. And each chapter kind of like stands on itself, on its own. And the story seems to like kind of like stall for a really long time until you get to the end and you realize, oh, I forgot. They're not gonna get a happy ending, are they? And then they don't. And then you think to yourself, wow, the world is a really messed up place. And then it hits you with a glimmer of hope, of something magical maybe happening. And I was like, yes. When you think There's nothing but darkness out there. When you think everything is lost, when you've lost your way, where you don't know where you're going, when you don't have the motivation to get up from bed, right? That's when the sun starts to creep in and the rays, seep in through your windows and hit you right in the eye. And you wake up and you're like, okay, today's the day. I am gonna finally do my taxes. Or do something. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding about the taxes thing, okay? It was just a joke, little joke, okay? But when you lose all hope, don't give up, because there's more to it. And I guess that's what I got from the story. I want to say that I expected the ending, and to a degree, I expected the first half of the ending. I expected it. I kind of like predicted the first half of the ending. But the second half, like the last 2 chapters, and if you know, you know, okay? I didn't expect that as much as I thought. Like what Autumn ends up trying to do, and then the revelation after that. Wow. Okay, good book. Go read it. I don't know. I got it. It's one of the purchases that I did in early July just to get same day shipping from Amazon. So it must have been like $5 or $6. Okay, here you go. Good summer read. Don't read it during winter because then you're gonna be too sad and depressed. Okay, read it during the summer when it's sunny out and you could go to the pool or the beach and go for a little swim if you know how to do that. Okay, all right. Have fun.